I've been making sure that I get enough sleep at night. There are a lot of different reasons for it.
Uh-huh.
A lot of it, it's more than just feeling good, feeling better, but I do feel better, when I get enough sleep. But because I was talking to your mother about this, and I want to make sure she's getting enough sleep, because she's always been like me. We always ran on these short sleep schedules, because we were working, all the time and commuting into Manhattan and all that sort of stuff. So it becomes like a habit. So she kind of habitually doesn't get enough sleep. I'm trying to get her to get more sleep. And one of the things that, I remember I took I don't know if you'll remember, I took a psychology course not that long ago.
Okay.
I took psychology when I was in college, but I took a class in psychology. I think I took 1 semester or 2 semesters. I think it was 1 semester. I think it was 2. No, it was 2 semesters, a couple of years ago. And one of the things, this was a particular, I forget the name of the course, but we really centered on the brain, or as the professor called it, de brain. He used to say de brain.
Okay.
I don't know. He was Italian. He was from Italy. And
okay. I was going to say he's obviously not American.
No, but he called it de brain.
Or if he is American, there's something very wrong with him.
He's from Italy. His name was Mario. I don't remember his last name. His name was Mario, Professor Mario. But anyway, he was a good professor. I liked him. Anyway, one of the things we that I remember learning about at that time was these cells in the brain called glial cells. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah.
They call them glial cells. And all right. Do you know what the lymphatic system is in the body?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go deep into it.
You mean like lymph nodes all throughout the body?
Well, you have these lymph nodes, and then you have this lymphatic system, which is it's plumbing. It's what it is, and it basically is for it. Your lymph nodes produce white blood cells, and it cleans out your whole system of germs and viruses and white blood cells, and it goes through your whole body and keeps you healthy. Okay. Well, they've discovered this is only a recent discovery. They've recently discovered inside the brain, they've discovered a similar system. It's not a lymphatic system, but they call it a glymphatic system.
Okay.
Nobody has known about this until the last few years. Glymphatic.
So they just added a G.
They made it up.
They took lymphatic and just added a G to the front
because it's comprised of these glial cells.
Okay.
These glial cells create this. What would you call it? It's like the internal plumbing.
Okay.
Of the system, and what it does is it pumps through your brain. It pumps through cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, not whatever the fluid is that goes through your. I don't even know what goes through your lymphatic system. Lymph? I don't know.
Might be.
I guess. It pumps this fluid through your brain, and it cleans out debris in your brain. Okay, that could be anything. Could be, I think, maybe even heavy metals. I'm not sure. But one of the main things that it clears, but it's mainly. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
I'm just imagining somebody listening to Metallica, and then they're, and then where'd it go? I can't remember.
No,
that's not what you meant.
No, it's not what I meant.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
Master.
Wait,
what comes? What? Okay. Yeah,
yeah. So it clears out debris. One of the things that it clears out that everybody wants to get cleared out is amyloid beta, right? Which is the plaquing.
That's the plaque. Yeah,
That's
the
plaque, right? So everybody wants that cleared out.
That's what everybody thinks causes
dementia,
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, yeah.
Based on research that's
old.
Not old, not even just old, but also fraudulent.
Oh, well, that's right. It is. Yeah, we should talk about that one day. It is fraudulent.
No, we don't have to do it now.
No, we won't do it now.
Yep.
But apparently, I would imagine that you don't want too much of it there, right?
Probably not.
Yeah. And it's caused by inflammation, and it gets there, but it's actually repairing the structure. So it clears that out. It also clears out other proteins. There's something called tau proteins. A lot of this stuff results in dementia and everything from foggy brain to headaches.
Yeah.
So this stuff clears it out all the time. Problem is, it only happens when you're sleeping.
Really?
Only when you're sleeping.
Okay.
Which is weird, but that's what now, who knows, 5 years from now, we'll find out, well, no, it's happening, also during the daytime, but apparently most of it happens at nighttime. And it also happens best when the temperature in the room is lower than 66 degrees.
Oh, man.
Or 66 or lower.
That's freezing.
Yeah, that's pretty cold.
That's pretty cold.
Well, that's why. So what I've been doing is I've been lowering my temperature.
Yeah.
For the past number of years. But that's why I wanted to know why, because you hear all of these sleep experts and all these, neuroscientists like Huberman.
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 Yeah.
And I can't think of the other guys. Matthew
Walker. Walker.
Is he a doctor?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't look like a doctor.
No, I know. Well, he looked like
he used to look like a doctor.
He looked like some sort of like weird. I don't know. He wore that vest and had that bowl haircut.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and now he has like long hair.
Yeah.
So now he looks like he's from Lord of the Rings or something. Yeah. No,
well,
he's a scientist, I think.
He's a scientist. Okay. So he's, put it this way, he's smart, right?
Yeah.
And he knows his stuff, and he's, so what I've been doing is I've been lowering the temperature as part of my sleep habit, and I don't know. I'm hoping that it's okay, but I want your mother to also benefit from that too.
Well, I like sleeping in a colder room.
I do,
but I also use a blanket.
I never used to. I always used to want it like 70. I always wanted like 70 or above 72 degrees, like my whole life.
Yeah,
and now I've lowered it down. I've been doing it this way for a couple of years now, and I don't even notice a difference.
Right.
It feels great.
But and by the way, Huberman, I don't know the research.
Right.
But I can usually assume he knows the research and knows it well.
Mm-hmm.
He prefers standard time year round.
Oh, really?
That's his preference.
Let's see. I've watched some videos from him. Why would he do that? Why would he try? You mind if I speculate for a second?
No.
Trying to think. Why would he say that? Oh, I know why.
Why?
Because he's got this thing where you need bright daylight early in the morning.
Early in the morning,
right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, and why is that? Why would you need that?
Well, that's one of those things that affects your circadian rhythm.
Right.
I know, like getting bright daylight in the morning. That's what like keeps your rhythm regular.
Right.
So that exercise, food, those things in the morning all do that. So maybe that's the reason.
Right.
I'm not sure, but also he does say, however, that either way, whether we do permanent standard or permanent daylight savings, both are better than a clock switch. He thinks the clock switch itself
messes people
is
up.
what's worst.
Yeah, there are statistics that there are like a lot more accidents and things like that, and people making mistakes, and everything from car crashes to plane accidents and everything else immediately following the switch. One of the other thing I wanted to mention to you also was these glial cells.
Okay,
I have to go back to the glial cells for a second.
Fine.
These glial cells. One of the things that happen to you at nighttime, for whatever reason, you might have read about this. I've been reading about this for years. That your brain shrinks. They're saying like 60%, which sounds like
60%.
I read somewhere that your brain shrinks 60%.
I bet you didn't read that somewhere.
I did read it. Okay, I don't.
On Reddit? I mean, who said that?
I don't necessarily believe it. But wait a minute. But then looking into it a little bit further, I found that it is the glial cells that shrink. Now maybe they shrink 60%. That I would believe.
I don't think
your whole brain is going to like separate from your skull and become this little walnut.
It's like a shrunken head of some kind.
Yeah, but I think it was probably mispresented. 60%. These glial cells shrink. At nighttime, and it is tied to circadian rhythm. And that's when it happens during certain hours of the night. And that's why you want to get all of your sleep cycles in. If you don't get all of your sleep cycles in, it doesn't happen as often, and you don't get as good of a clean out as you would get normally. So the glial cells actually shrink. That's crazy.
They shrink while they're working?
They shrink to create space so that this cerebral spinal fluid can get through and flow through and flush out all the junk. Isn't that amazing?
So I have to look now.
Okay.
'Cause that's too ridiculous. So if I just look, what do you think? Brain shrinks 60% at night. Let's see if we get anything.
Okay.
Brain cells can shrink approximately 60%, creating more space in between them, allowing the brain's waste removal system called the glymphatic system to efficiently flush out toxins and waste product. Okay, so that is exactly right. It's the glial cells.
The glial cells that shrink. Yeah, I read a stupid article.
Yeah, it's not the brain.
It wasn't on Reddit.
Well, it was probably like the headline to get you to click it.
Yeah,
maybe.
One of those things. Yeah, probably.
It's like brain shrinks 60%.
And I remember saying, how can that come on? That's almost half.
The author should be writing, my brain shrunk 60%.
And it never came back.
Never came back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea of, brains shrinking, I remember you telling me about, we've talked about this in the past, about shrinking hippocampus.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me about this.
Yep.
And
sorry, I had to remember.
Okay. Well, you told me
That's
about
a joke.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ha ha ha.
You'd have to know the hippocampus
You
is the
need more.
memory
You
center.
need
of the
more
brain.
sleep.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking about that, and I agree. And the whole philosophy behind that was, first of all, I don't think you want that to happen, and secondly, what could happen if your hippocampus shrinks?
Okay. You want me to explain the hippocampus thing?
Well, because it has to do with. I remember tying it into, and I think we were tying it into doing things that you don't want to do. Do you remember that?
No, that was slightly different.
Okay.
There is a part of the brain that grows when you do things you don't want to do.
Okay.
It's not the hippocampus.
Oh, okay.
That's a
We were talking
different
about
part of the brain.
neurogenesis then.
Yes, we're talking about hippocamponeurogenesis.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, not shrinking, but actually expanding
Growing.
and getting bigger. Ah,
Yes.
got it.
Well,
Got it.
growing, or else it shrinks. Or else it shrinks. Right. Because, I mean, cells die over time.
Yeah.
So hippocampus is it's not a place that necessarily stores memories, I don't think. I'm not a neuroscientist, obviously, but I've read about this. But it processes memories. It's like the file management system for your memories, one of the places. And you want it to be large so it can do a good job. And how does it get large? Through neurogenesis. And that is genesis meaning, birth, creation of neurons, neurogenesis. That's when your body creates new cells. So hippocamponeurogenesis is very important.
Right.
And you need that happening while you're an adult, especially because you want to maintain the size of your hippocampus throughout your life and as you get into old age.
Oh, so it's to prevent it from shrinking. It doesn't.
You want to prevent it from shrinking.
Right.
You want to keep it growing. Yeah, you're not going to get like a massive hippocampus, but it'll shrink if it's not replenishing cells as they die. So what happens is when you have a lot of stress in your life and you don't handle that stress properly, when you don't process that stress, when you get very upset, very emotional, angry, fearful, when you have your fear receptors are activated, they get stressed over time. They get used up. You actually begin to leak, your neurons begin to leak molecules. And when that happens, your body responds to that with an autoimmune response. And they send cytokines up there. And what cytokines do is they cause inflammation. Your body basically attacks itself.
Right.
It's like, hey, your neurons are leaking, and you start attacking yourself.
So there comes the dementia.
So, well, not there yet. There's another step in between.
Okay.
So what happens is with inflammation, your body stops generating new neurons.
Right.
That's what happens. When your body stops generating new neurons, you're not replenishing the ones that die, and your hippocampus begins to shrink. When your hippocampus begins to shrink, you're not as adept at processing memories. And this is what makes a certain scientist named Michael Nels, who's German, who has studied, I mean, he has papers on this. He's a legitimate molecular biologist, I believe. This is what has led him to say this causes dementia. Dementia is preventable. It's not from this plaque thing. It's from people essentially not handling life events correctly.
Right.
That's what it is.
So it is stress related.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
it comes back to stress. It comes back to how fearful and emotional you are in response to stress.
Right. Okay. So that goes to what I teach, right?
Yeah.
That goes to dealing with stress properly.
Yes.
Because if you get stressed and don't deal with it properly, then you get the negative effects.
Right.
Right.
So there's an actual biological. It's
But
not
it's
just
not-
spiritual.
it's
There's a
not this-
biological effect from this.
Well, it is spiritual because stress is spiritual.
I said not just spiritual.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, but yeah, okay. So if you deal, you're not going to not get stress. People who try to remove stress from their lives are going to wither and die.
Right. Well, and his argument, he's a scientist,
Right.
He's a biologist, so he's arguing as preventative measures, like make sure you get enough exercise, have new experiences, make sure you're giving your body enough stimuli to have a reason
Right.
to go through neurogenesis. Make sure you're taking minerals, you're eating right, stuff like that. He likes lithium. I don't know why. I don't know the science behind what lithium does, but he thinks small intakes of lithium help. Which sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in some sort of non-reactive form. I don't know, because lithium is dangerous, right? Probably some ion of lithium. But anyway, but he doesn't concentrate on the spiritual aspect or the emotional aspect of things, which is where the meditation.
Yeah. Well,
in.
science never does. Science concentrates on the materialistic stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So the thing is that you have to have stress. You have to have stress, and you have to overcome stress. And like even in the smallest ways, it's like, have you ever noticed? You work out, right? You use the gym,
Yeah.
right? So, and I've noticed this too. It's like when I'm doing, let's say I'm doing squats, right? And I'm doing 3 sets of 12 squats each set. Let's just say, and I get that, and I'm doing the squats, and I get down, and I'm up to 10. There's like this temptation to say, well, I'll just do 10 now, and I don't push through to the 12.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I do the thing that I don't want to do. I go to 12. And sometimes I'll say, well, I'll go to 15. you know what I mean? If I don't do it, it's not like, oh, I feel like I failed. There is an absence of accomplishment if you don't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I see that as a microcosm of many things in life. A lot of things in life. You need mental stimulation. You need stress. You need pressure so that you can overcome it and not let it get to you. I'm glad you said what you did about it converting it to fear, because fear is resentment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I say about that. Fear is resentment. The reason why fear is resentment is because you're resenting something that hasn't even happened yet.
Right.
Right.
The unknown.
Yeah. You're judging the future. You're judging someone for what they might say, or for the world for what might happen in it, or whatever. And if you don't overcome that, you have to face that and step back from it and watch it and not let it overwhelm you. And then you escape from it. You're left unscathed. You're left just an observer.
Right.
It doesn't get you.
You are actually more competent in handling what happens too in real time.
You do become stronger.
Oh yeah.
You become stronger.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. This whole bit about, a sense of accomplishment, that there's a good way to accomplish things and there's a bad way to accomplish things that way within this realm that we're talking about. Right. And, there's an ambitious way of doing things, like a lot of sports training is that way. It's like, that's willful. That's willful accomplishment. That's not healthy. Mm-hmm. It's really not. I mean, you can win a football game.
Right.
You can rile up a team doing that.
So how is that different from I know it is, but how is that different from what you just said about pushing through your last set?
Well, it's different because when you push through, it's not emotional. I don't get emotional over it. I'm not patting myself on the back for it. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not saying, oh, I'm fantastic, I'm wonderful. I notice that there's a lack of, the absence of failure is success. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So
the absence of light is dark.
The absence of success is failure. Oh. So yeah, the absence of light is dark. But no. What I mean is it's not a willful thing. It's a sense of accomplishment that exists because you're not.
I know what you're talking about.
It's not emotional.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay.
And you're also not. You're not getting something emotional. You're not getting something emotional out of it.
Right. You're not deriving something out of it that really you don't deserve.
Yeah.
You're just not feeling bad about it.
Right.
It's a neutral thing.
Right.
Right. And that's progress.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't feel like it, it's just like, okay, I did the right thing.
Right.
So like it's, there's a satisfaction to it. There's a satisfaction in knowing that, I've just finished I've just accomplished something. I've just, a work day. At the end of a work day, I had a good day today.
Sure.
I had a good day today. Why? Because
I'm the man.
I'm the man.
Yeah.
No, that's you're going to die like that.
Right.
That's exciting.
Too much.
That's exciting everything in your body.
I agree.
Yeah. So it's the absence of not. Well, you can't feel that way. Everybody feels an excitement. If you won $1 million in the lottery, you'd be high for days.
Yeah,
probably,
sure.
right? You can't help it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I would be. I would not be.
I know, but you're still gonna have a bodily reaction to such an event. I mean, you can't help it.
I think I might smile.
Yeah, sure. Right.
Yeah. But it's not emotional. It's not emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the difference. And so you don't get all of the emotional damage that happens. You don't get the rise in the cortisol, and the adrenals don't go wild, and you don't get.
Well, you do a little bit. I mean, that's going to, like you said, if you won the lottery, you're going to get
yes,
that.
everyone has a sympathetic nervous system, of course, and that does. But everyone also has a parasympathetic nervous system that's going to keep that in check, and that's what we have. That homeostasis is what's important. So we get excited, but then we get normalized.